I need you to understand something before I tell you this. I am not crazy. And whatever that light was, it followed me home. What I'm about to tell you has cost me 3 years of sleep, 2 relationships, and every sense of safety I used to have. And I'm telling you anyway because you need to know what's out there. This happened 3 years ago in the Appalachian Mountains in western North Carolina. I'd been hiking those trails for 15 years. I knew the terrain, I knew the weather patterns, I knew how to read the woods. I wasn't some inexperienced day tripper who got spooked by shadows. I was an experienced hiker who had camped alone in those mountains dozens of times without incident. I want to make that clear, because what I'm about to describe doesn't make sense, and I know that. But it happened. Every word of it. I set up camp near a trail I'd done 4 or 5 times before, about 6 miles from the nearest trailhead. Nothing unusual about the first day. I hiked, I made camp, I ate, I sat by my fire watching the stars come out. The Appalachians at night are one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. The sky gets so dark out there that you can see the Milky Way clearly. I fell asleep around 10 and slept well. The second night is when it started. I'd spent the day on a longer trail loop, came back to camp tired and satisfied, made dinner, cleaned up, got my fire going. It was maybe 9:30 when I first noticed it. A light through the trees, maybe 200 yards northeast of my camp, soft and warm, like a lantern. It was moving slowly, drifting between the trunks. My first thought was another hiker, because of course it was. I called out, "Hey, over here! I've got a fire going!" Nothing. The light kept moving at the same slow pace, drifting through the trees like it was being carried by someone walking unhurriedly through the dark. I called out again. Still nothing. I told myself they probably couldn't hear me. That sound travels strangely in the mountains. I watched the light for a few more minutes. It seemed to be moving parallel to my camp rather than toward or away from me. Then it changed direction and began moving slowly deeper into the woods to the northeast. I don't know why I followed it. I've asked myself that question 1,000 times since, and I still don't have a good answer. Part of me thought it might be someone in trouble, maybe injured or disoriented. Part of me was just curious. It was a calm night. I knew these woods, and the light seemed close enough that I could follow it a short distance and still find my way back easily. I grabbed my flashlight and headed into the trees. The light stayed ahead of me at a consistent distance, maybe 150 yards. I walked faster and it seemed to drift faster. I slowed down, and it slowed down. It was always exactly far enough ahead that I could see it clearly, but couldn't get close enough to see what was carrying it. There was no sound. No footsteps, no voices, no sounds of movement through brush. Just the light, floating through the dark trees, in complete silence. I should have stopped then. I know that now. I kept walking. The terrain started to feel less familiar, but I told myself I was just disoriented in the dark. I checked my phone for the trail map, but the GPS wasn't loading properly. I'd been following the light for what felt like maybe 20 minutes, so I wasn't worried yet. I figured I'd follow it another few minutes, and if I couldn't get close, I'd turn around and follow my own footprints back to camp. Then I checked my watch. It was 2:47 in the morning. I had left camp at 9:40. That meant I had been walking for over 5 hours. 5 hours. I had no memory of 5 hours passing. My legs weren't tired. I wasn't hungry or thirsty. But 5 hours were gone. And I had no idea how far I'd walked or in what direction. I stopped walking immediately. The light stopped too. For the first time since I'd started following it, the light was completely still. It just hung there between the trees ahead of me, not moving, not flickering. I stood completely still and watched it. My heart was pounding, but everything around me was absolutely silent. No wind, no insects, no sound at all. Just me and that light hanging motionless in the dark. Then it turned. I don't know how else to describe it. The light turned toward me. It had been moving away, and now it was facing me. The quality of the light changed slightly, became more intense, more focused. And then it began moving toward me. I ran. I ran without any idea which direction I was going, crashing through undergrowth and branches in complete panic. I didn't look back. I could feel it behind me. Not because I heard anything, but because the woods ahead of me seemed brighter than they should have been, like something behind me was illuminating my path. I ran until I stumbled out onto a gravel road I didn't recognize and fell to my knees on the edge of it. I looked back into the trees. The light was there, at the tree line, stationary, just watching me from the edge of the woods. Then slowly, it withdrew back into the darkness and was gone. A truck found me 40 minutes later, walking along that road. The driver told me I was 11 miles from the trailhead where I'd parked my car. 11 miles through dense Appalachian forest in the dark with no memory of walking it. I never went back for my camp. I reported it to the Park Service and told them about the light. They said it was probably another hiker with a lantern. They weren't interested in the 5 missing hours or the 11 miles. I told myself it was over. It wasn't over. A week after I got home, I saw it outside my bedroom window. Just for a moment, a soft, warm light drifting past at 2 a.m. I told myself it was a car, but there's no road on that side of my house. I've seen it 7 times since then, always between 2 and 3 a.m, always drifting slowly past windows or visible at the edge of my yard where the tree line starts. It never comes closer than the tree line. It never does anything except drift slowly and then disappear. I don't know what it wants. I don't know what it is. I don't know why it chose me, or if it had always been there and I just made the mistake of acknowledging it. What I do know is this. If you are ever in the Appalachian Mountains at night, and you see a light moving through the trees, do not call out to it. Do not follow it. Turn around, go back to your camp, get into your tent, and do not look outside until morning. Because if it knows you can see it, I don't think it ever really lets you go.